We've been. Hey y'all. Hey. How's everyone in YouTube land? How's it going out there in the wild tube land? So I found this candy. So this is like an impromptu. Honestly, they didn't want me to cancel this live. I wanted to set the live back so many different times, and I apologize. Procrastination is one of my biggest things because I seem to operate a whole lot greater with the nick of time, but procrastination doesn't work for anybody. But anyhow, so I wanted to continue to push back this live because I've been doing a lot. I've been moving a lot of furniture. I've been moving a lot of stuff, period, and working and here and there. And I'm want to go work out, and I haven't eaten. I probably ate like something way earlier this morning. So I'm like, man, I don't really want to cancel this live because I'm not in the right space, the right mind frame, but I tried to do it several times and it would not be canceled. It would not be canceled. So finally it just clicked in my head like, oh my God. They want me to say some kind of message or whatever message that's impromptu for y'all. Like, honestly, because, well, you probably don't know. I'll be like analytical in my head, like, okay, what am I going to talk about? Like most people who get on YouTube, what am I going to talk about? I have nothing to talk about. But then I had got like some extreme messages from some symbolism that I've got on my birthday a couple months ago, and a person was talking about it on the video, so that helped me reflect back to who I was, and you know what I'm saying. So basically, whatever I have to talk about will probably be enlightening or not. It doesn't matter, but my ultimate thing is me allowing physical to override my mental space, like, because being up and about since morning from like days and days and hardly not getting any sleep, and it's like, man, I'm tired. This is the last thing I want to do. But anyway, it's always grateful to come on here. I know I always feel so much better when I am done jabbering to y'all up on here, y'all. So don't forget to like the stream when y'all roll up in here, and subscribe to the channel. hmm So, what I was gonna say, that's what I was gonna say. My spiel. You know how it is when you like do videos or anyway. It's like, man, what are you gonna talk about? But obviously, you have something to talk about, or you would never like started the video to begin with. Obviously, you would never turn the camera on. There is, you always have a message. There's always something to say. That's why they wouldn't let me cancel this live stream. Hey. Yeah, so just jibber jabbering about, what had just occurred. Because I'm not really tired, but I really want to come on here and say, hey, y'all, hey. And then, like, after that, if y'all was done listening to me jibber jabber, doing good. How you doing, chicken wing? Chicken, chicken leg. Or was it chicken head? Chicken wing, chicken head. Anyway, so the Walgreens are all shutting down, like most stores around like the nation's a little, not even the smaller stores now. It's like your mid stores, not Walgreens, Rite Aid. My bad, y'all. It's been a long day. Rite Aid is getting ready to shut down. They barely have anything in the store. So I remember getting these like when I was much young, where you get the like the little dip flavorful sugar package. Now, damn well, I haven't done this in like at least 20 years. But I came on here because I wanted to talk to y'all and say hey and have some energy and have fun at the same time. But they got grape. See, they got grape. They got cherry and they got apple. Apple was always my least favorite. Hey, how you doing, Lofo? Chicken Wing said hi again. Peekabogo Weagle. That's different. Apple. Apple was the least favorite, so dipping right into the cherry. So what's up with y'all? What y'all up to? So anyway, yeah, y'all, they really honestly didn't want me to cancel the slide. So here I go. Let me get a little bit more energy, see what y'all up to. Don't forget to thumbs up the video. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. I'm actually at one of these wonderful, beautiful historical environments. So I'm a lot by train and activity with nature. because not too many people are around right now. Just myself and you guys, y'all. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm almost there. Because I'll start talking when there's like zero. No, I'm just going to talk anyway. But when I get to it, I get to it. It's been honestly, y'all probably missed what I said in the beginning. That's okay. I'm glad to be here. Hold on. Glad to be here. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Woo, child of mine. So glad that I am here. I'm like, what in the hell am I going to say when I'm talking about? And I keep getting like this Where's Waldo thing. I've been getting it for like almost 2 weeks now. Where's Waldo's? Where's Waldo? Where's Waldo? Have like this theme of like, Where's Waldo, right? Y'all remember Where's Waldo? And the Highlight Children's, I think he's still out there. That used to be one of my favorite magazines. I was like a huge like journal kid children magazine person when I was younger. Where's Waldo in the Highlights magazine? Y'all remember that? Anyway, so keep getting messages about Where's Waldo, and I'm thinking like, okay, the theme behind Where's Waldo, he's in this ginormous crowded space amongst all these distractions of things that are alike and things are, you know, not like the same items in a category, but all bunched together to kind of like confuse you and to throw you off into like, Where's Waldo? So I'm getting these messages about crowd space and people not being able to stand out because they're like in this function and form of like a Where's Waldo. Okay. I'm like, okay, well, that's interesting. I can kind of see that. We've seen so many seasons of Black Mirror, okay, where the lady of Joan, or whatever the name of that show is, right? When it was a quantum machine and she's been quantified over and over and over again. But this whole instinct with Where's Waldo, I had to look it up, like some historical factors, like why would this guy come up? I'm doing lovely, thank you. Doing great, thank you. Um, why would this guy come up with this interesting fact of Where's Waldo in this huge ass crowded space amongst clusters of items that are alike and dislike that kind of throw you off so you really can't find the one person, the individual. Some people can never find where's Waldo in the picture. You would take like half hour, 45 minutes to find Waldo. But I was always able to find Waldo the quickest, the most fastest, the most fast, like easy. There he is, there he is, there he is, there he is. Because he stood out. And that kind of like reflected me a lot as a kid, being able to look for things and to identify things that stood out. Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed. So to me, being amongst a crowded space, people naturally follow form. They naturally want to be like everyone else. It's like pulling out your cell phone, right? Here you are at a dinner or lunch or a breakfast somewhere out at a restaurant amongst all these people in this wonderful ambiance and environment. And most people are still handle their cell phones are their handlers. So therefore, you're not quite really standing out. You're just following form and function of everybody else. And then society will make you look crazy, right? If you're not doing the same thing that they're doing. Okay. So think about it like that. That's like a conscious and an unconscious kind of behavior of following people. Monkey see, monkey do, right? Being amongst an environment that's natural, that's pretty, that you come to relax or you come to feel the energy, the music, the essence. And yet you have this cell phone that's like your handler telling you what to do and how to do it. Anyway, so Where's Waldo? Let's get back to that. So y'all saying anything? I looked up a little bit of the historical factors of Where's Waldo. I already pretty much knew where he was coming from, but let's read a little bit about Where's Waldo, all right? So, Where's Waldo is a series of children's puzzle books created by British illustrator Martin Handford. The books feature detailed double page spreads filled with numerous characters and activities and the challenge is to find Waldo. I had too much sugar, y'all. Hidden within the scene. The concept creation is initially a freelance illustrator focusing on crowd scenes was encouraged to add a character to tie his busy illustrations together. So originally his illustrations were all busy ass scenes, probably like buses and people and just crowd together. That was his niche, right? Is illustrating crowded scenes. All right. So in order for that to stand out, he developed a character of Where's Waldo. Okay. Just follow me, just follow me. So that led to the creation of Waldo and the distinctive character in the red and white striped shirt and beanie. So why in the hell is he wearing a red and white striped shirt and beanie? I don't know. That's just something I just thought of right about now. Okay. So Waldo is interesting to me because he stood out in every crowded scene. Okay. This guy who built this character was able to build these extravagant big ass cities, right? Big ass town, things that look alike. Let me show you some of these scenes, right? Because I'm trying to get you to being able to, you have to stand out yourself as a person, as an individual. Because as this whole group, right? This whole cluster of everyone following form or function, you will never, ever, ever, ever look. They say ha 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 ha. You see how they say ha 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 in the background? By doing the same things, wearing the same colors, looking the same way, doing everything, you will never be able to stand out physically or spiritually. Physically or spiritually. Okay. Let's look at another scene. Look, everybody all looks the same. Where the fuck is Waldo? Well, guess what? Waldo's right here. I can find Waldo the quickest. Let there be a Waldo challenge somewhere, and I will find Waldo in milliseconds because I naturally look for things that stands out. That was part of my childhood, looking for stuff that stands out because everyone so-called had this angelic figure or were so moralized by with their speech, but their the majority 100%, not by default or by judgment, weren't really following their speech. They always had something wise to say, right? But never had nothing wise to write down, nothing wise to publicize, but we can illustrate from a Bible, right? That's like following forms of function, following something that was already here for you. Let's all wear yellow today. Oh, we're all gonna wear yellow today. Let's all read the Bible in yellow. Something that was already structured for you. I find in that way, this is how they collect so much data. Millions, eons of data collection of people individually and in groups, consciously and unconsciously following the forms of society, or not following the forms of society, but all following a path of something else that was already written and structured for them. So anyway, that's my idea of Where's Waldo. I figured that's what the spirit ancestors, the guys kept telling me to talk about, like for the last 2 weeks, is just finding your individuality amongst a space of crowdedness. Okay. Honestly, I can find uniqueness in people who stand out amongst crowd easily. We automatically identify people because we naturally don't want to do the same thing as other people. I don't know how else to say it. It's not something that we like rebel against. It's just something that I am. Something that, I don't know. I've already had stories about being weird as fuck. And the whole family members is like, if you get your ass over here with us, what the fuck are you doing over there? If you don't get your butt over here with us. And here I am, like, no, I'm over here, y'all. I don't know what's going on. Are we supposed to be sitting down at I don't know. It's kind of weird. So I'm naturally programmed to stand down. Not to say that I really want to, like Beyonce said, I didn't ask for this, or whatever line she said in one of her songs. We didn't ask for this, basically. Dang it, I wish I knew that song because I would play it right now. motherfuckers ain't stopping me. That song. So being that, being and standing out is just being at the same time, right? Never, ever, ever performing, because energetic levels, physical and spiritual, are looking for the performers. They want you to perform, baby, because they are looking to eat your energy. Okay, so everybody who's performing together, orchestrating together, we know what your next position is. We know what your next move is going to be. We know what you're going to do next, or tomorrow, or the next moment, because we've already collected the data from you and your parents. So, how can you stand out as the individual? All they say is just being, is being. How do y'all stand out as individuals? I can't just only say naturally, right? Because people are like, oh, well, that's just ego. But naturally, like weird, if people call you weird or say that you, well, not people, because people really don't care, like somewhat in your childhood, just naturally stand out, like your family members, people who really know you, that you grew up, were like, yeah, you're kind of strange in a little bit. One boyfriend said some song back in the day was called She's Strange and I like it. Some shit like that was weird, referring to me. Okay, where's Waldo? So where are you at in the world? Where are you at in the crowded space? And you don't even have to be like socially in an environment like standing out physically, but where are you in your day-to-day practice, your day-to-day motivation? Where do you stand out at? Where are you standing out at? Are you standing out going to the mail? Are you standing out, how do you shine? How do you perform? Where are you standing out where you're acting as your own true being and not acting as the form of other people, what they do for their day to day, 9 to 5, 8 to 8, or Monday through Friday, and then on the weekends they pig out? Like, how do you stand out as an individual? Like, that is orchestrating your true being. And I have to look at it as so many different ways. They gave me so many different angles, which is kind of difficult, right? But easy. Someone's personality can stand out. Even if you have some kind of like disability or whatever, your personality, they stand out the most. People who are lacking physically, who are somewhat abnormal, they somewhat have more of a personality, right? Because they had to build that within themselves, because they didn't have the outer layers, they didn't have the movement, the equipment that's supposed to be normal. So they were able to sharpen their mind, okay, and sharpen their emotions and use their personality and standing out even with that. And then I also know and work with hospice as well. And a lot of times when I be thinking about different concepts out loud, I also think about, that's why I say on so many different levels, I think about those who are like can transition at any moment, those who are completely disabled, those who are, and I mean transition at any age, right? I have to think about like how are they standing out like in these moments too, not in your environment, your space, but you being unique. And then like most of the people who are like on their deathbed on hospice, right? They stand out the most by just being, because what else are they going to do? They're just being, you know? They have control over just being in how they're going to transition in, if they want to be comfortable or not, but just being is standing out. Having personality is standing out. Have a routine and practice that everyone isn't watching, okay, that you're not looking for a cheerleader, is standing out. Because when this guy developed this world's Rado, it had to been boring, like, because that's crazy. He had to go, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna research like this red and white in the hat. I want to know why that he choose red and white. Because it stands? Is it an English thing, or because we'll see red and white? Obviously, because we'll see red and white. But there's something about the stripe with red or white. It's given like I'm not gonna say. It's not gonna say like a different type of deity. So there's so many options for people to stand out where there's no ego evolved. No involved ego. Evolved. Evolved. They like evolved ego. Wow. Mm-hmm. So it's 7 o'clock, y'all. I know it's kind of interesting and it might be challenging for some people to do because we're naturally in a technological era, and we automatically have so many different devices and things to look at, and people barely like look up in the sky, or they barely look below their feet every day, so you wake up in the morning, or people, you come out of the birth womb and automatically you got this handler which is your cell phone. You get this handler, or you get this tablet, 1, 2, 3 years old, you have this handler, orchestrating things. You don't know what the hell they're really emitting to some children on these devices. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. You don't see the frequencies. You don't really know what they're really emitting through these um, frequencies in these devices for children, outside of what we already know, their attention span, and it becomes their best friends. Remember when kids used to have, teddy bears and dolls for best friends and stuff like that? Now they got like their tablets and things. It's like, okay, so the imagination has completely taken over on the device. So they built in script imagination for you attached to this device, right? And like your own natural imagination has been stripped away. And when it comes to crowd sourcing, that's how they build all your data. I mean, that shit is crazy. Like seriously, like really think about it. Especially them having their devices, and whatever they just said, it wasn't me because I'm just talking now. They got their sugar. I don't. I'm just talking about my ancestors. I don't. Spirit higher source, they be on. Okay, so crowdsourcing for little children, they have their device. Okay, so like I was saying, really don't know what these signals are, these different images are that are emitting from these devices, especially those that are specially made for children. We really don't know what messages are coming through on these signals and waves that are communicating with their small little formless brain, basic that's not even formed until what, they're 21 or 25. Okay. So, and when they just said that that's how they crowdsource and get all their data. So they're extracting, okay, they're extracting, okay, they're extracting, and they are giving signals to the children at the same time from these devices. It's kind of like, I just got like an image from like Poltergeist back in the day when that video movie had came out, when that black and white screen was there, and those images, that kid was the only one at that point in time originally was able to see was able to see and to hear what was going on in the TV. It's kind of like something like that, like hearing shit through them and seeing things, and you know you can't, they're not, it's like telepathy basically, from the screen to the person, the child, from the child to the person. It's like telepathy type of frequency or energy is what I just got, especially with the little girl sitting down on the floor with the TV and they're talking through the television screen. That is what they're talking about, crowdsourcing and extracting data from children, especially from these little portable devices that are definitely made for children. We really don't know. And that's what they keep saying. That's what they continue to say, y'all, for eons, honestly. We really don't know. We don't have enough information. This is all new material. Bush, they motherfucking know. They know. We need enough data. We need enough data. Oh, bitch, they have enough data collection. They know the power of imagery. They know the power of imagery. They know the power of different frequencies and light reflections, okay, especially when it comes to children. That's why they have all of these warning signs on specific videos now, music videos about people who are sensitive to different forms of light because they've been playing and experimenting with frequencies through light and data, extracting, and whatever the other one is. Extracting, right? Is taking and giving. Oh, I forget what the other one is. All I keep getting is extracting. They're not getting me the other word besides extracting. I don't know why. Data, information, knowledge, and information from these devices. Anything else? What y'all talking about? Y'all talking up in there? What y'all talking about? So they're okay. Yeah, I don't know. I guess when I used to go and look at the highlight magazine, right, when I was a kid, the scenes that always stuck out to me were the most crowded scenes, like the ones that were in, like, you can tell there was like Eastern Europe somewhere, or somewhere like India, or somewhere like that. Why did this guy, this designer, want to illustrate crowds like that and then instill Waldo for you to find Waldo? I mean, it's obvious, right? Mm-hmm. I'm really up here eating this candy like it's a holiday or something. Like I got some Christmas candy or some Halloween candy. Yes, indeed. And that's just what I was getting, especially with the data extraction. I'm pretty sure, it's kind of like the cell phone, how many different cell phone movies that have been made, that have been created, that's already been telling you that signal waves can be manipulated to turn people on and turn people off just by your cell phone device, just by that. So it's quite understandable the connection, right? Maybe a different frequency wave with years and years of data frequency and experimenting in those with light and these types of screens, okay? These forms and types of screens and how they can infiltrate your solar panel. So, children, definitely protected. I don't know if I actually is, they'll definitely be having like some crystals on and totally in awareness of devices, okay? Because the most protection is just complete awareness, just knowing. It's not like, oh, we can't watch TV anymore, we can't look on our laptops, and we can't get on our cell phones anymore. No, we ultimately have the power, the true power is in our hand. Fear is not in our hand, that belongs to someone else, okay? We are fearless, but awareness is the ultimate power, is the ultimate knowing. So if you know this is taking place, you have children that are on and running devices. Also, there are measures and boundaries that you can take. Same thing for adults, same thing, but not being aware fully on how these frequencies, these waves, these light frequencies from these screens, because they don't have enough data, which is bullshit. They don't know, what is to come unless we continue to experiment for 10 years. You can still always protect yourself because we don't live in fear ultimately. But the whole point was that I kept getting this message about where's Waldo. And it's just as simple as that. Where are you in the world? Where do you stand on your world? We've already talked about that. We can continue to roll over, right? Okay. we got to that point was because of, we roll out of our womb or we roll out of our bed and we have these devices. We already have these things that are readily made for us. Okay. So naturally, we are, in society like everybody else who are attached to our devices. And that's when they're like, when barely we don't even look up in the sky and we don't even look below our feet, but we have this infiltrator. Okay, we have this thing that's orchestrating our life. So fuck if you don't smoke cigarette, fuck if you don't have a cigarette, or if you are not a sugar addict or a drug addict. Like phone addict is a whole other experimental thing as well that they don't have studies on right now, but bet you golly wow, bet you by golly wow that they'll have some information like in 50, 75 years or something like that on, in comparison to addictive behavior, which I already have because I've taken humanity classes, blah blah blah, addictive behavior, relating to these devices and the light frequencies, and from the screen how it can adjust our behaviors. And I do mean adjust our behaviors too. I do mean adjust behaviors. Fucking pill. Ooh, chow. Forget about a pill. You got high cholesterol? Type that in your phone and look at the screen instead of a pill. What if they already have something like that, though, honestly? In technology, instead of swallowing the pill, there's just a code frequency or something you can highlight, copy, and paste some code frequency of the molecule structure of the pill that's put on your phone, and all you have to do is press enter and okay, and you'll get the knowledge and information of the pill from the screen, from looking at your screen, from looking at your phone. But why would they do that? This is because why not? We're moving into a technology era. Everything is going to be uploaded up online. Everything will be uploaded online. Somebody was like, do 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 I wonder why they didn't have any Twilight Zone. It only became more clear when Mr. Peel started writing and producing and directing about technological advances, or maybe they have in Twilight Zone and they just didn't stand out loud. I feel like most of the older Twilight Zones, like the black and white ones, focus a lot on UFOs and aliens, like Martians coming over to take over. And however, but Black Mirror is the show that teaches us basically how your consciousness will has been and will be uploaded online, has been and will be uploaded online on so many different ways. Extracting your, that's why they kept saying extracting earlier, extracting data, input, extracting input, because will bodies be as of use in the future? Will humanness be as of use in the future? Not if it looks like this. I mean, because a robot can look like that. Is this you? I mean, I can't tell. They all look the same. No, like honestly, you really have to consider that. That's why maybe like this World's Waldo theme keeps populating in my mind, because if they're able to extract your consciousness and your data and upload it online, then what use of your humanness? They've already desensitized us so much to the point where we're laughing at people like online, um, because they're being treated inhumane. We're already laughing at these people online, right? So slowly but slowly, your humanness completely, as if it hadn't happened already, because humanists for certain individual have been, they've never been considered human still today. But I'm just saying, as a collective now together, let's bring them all together now. Let's bring them all, let's make them, all inhumane. And what do we really need humans for? Let's just, upload their consciousness, and we'll take away all the bad or whatever is useful for us. We'll just use, their consciousness. We really don't need human bodies. We really, unless they're controlled infinitely, 100% entirely. So they're all fit inside the crowd, spiritually, mentally, physically, fuck socially, because that happens naturally when you wake up and roll out of bed, or when you roll out of womb. So yeah, like on Black Mirror, that's my favorite show, y'all. Black Mirror is my favorite show. Favorite apps. One of them anyway, outside of like Outer Limits and Twilight Zone. Not to say that I'd be watching it every day and all day, what I'm saying? Because I could if I was really like studying it and writing it down. But Black Mirror is showing us now, Justin Peele, right? I couldn't think of his first name. It is showing us now how one's consciousness is being uploaded online, and how easily your data is being extracted, and on so many different levels, in so many different ways, not just one way. Okay, not just on one of the shows where one's consciousness was like in a Bluetooth device. Okay, where they had to set the alarm and the camera, and they were like the timer, right? A part of her, which was her, but it was her consciousness that was, extracted over a period of time, right? And they put it into like this Bluetooth device, all right. And the Bluetooth device was like something that Siri does in your home, or some, those at home devices, something like that. But it was her true consciousness, which was like a part of her, which blew my mind, was doing that. So then I ask, then what's the next level, or what's the next step? It's like humans. Ugh. So you know, I just think about that, even to the point where people are laughing at individuals and groups of people, at their pain, especially how they present it on news, right? What does that say about us collectively? Ah! So anyway, y'all, that's what I wanted to say. 717. Ultimately, standing out. Standing out. A guy I dated back in the day, he gave me a story, and I don't know, I still think about it to this time. But hey, if I had that skill, I probably would have, trusted in my beliefs, or my system of myself. But basically said he was a teenager, and they went swimming, him and a group of friends, and they all got out the water, but they noticed that one of their friends was drowning in the water. Um, and nobody of his friends, there weren't any lifeguards around, or any of that. Obviously, they were in somewhere they probably shouldn't have been. But none of his friends or any of the crowd went to save him. They let him drown. And that was the first time that he told me that. And he was like, well, because people drown all the time trying to save other people. You know that? They drown all the time. I couldn't get past that. Like, oh, well, interesting. Well, for me, I'm not a good swimmer. So, and plus, I can't swim at all. I'm just letting you know that. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to fight to stay alive no matter what. But because I had to put myself in his shoes, like, would I really would have just watched somebody drown in front of me? Or would I have taken that risk and saved that person? Because that's crazy. That's like, what we see online right now. I guess there was like some kind of brawl in Cincinnati. There's always something going on, right? A group of people fighting, right? I don't know what the brawl was about. I asked my family, and they're like, I don't know. I don't watch the news. But check this out. It was a brawl. People were beating up each other. I don't know if it was a celebration or a game or however. And one lady was getting stomped to the ground. I'm pretty sure men were too, however. But mainly people were just with their cell phones and just watching with their cell phones, watching her get beat up or watching people just get beat up because they didn't want to get involved. They didn't, So now, hopefully, they're going to come up with some kind of policy or some kind of fines if they see that someone is being victimized and people are standing around with their phones. They're going to start charging people if you didn't call the police first. So if you got your phone out, you automatically pull your phone out and you don't call the police. They're thinking about adding some policies to certain states for the crazy people who are afraid nowadays to step in and to help other people, because that's kind of interesting. I wonder if the phone is just, like I said, it's the handler. It's the handler. So you mean to tell me someone is actually being injured and actually being hurt on subways out on the street, and your first thing to do is to get out your phone and I would even like, what? People can barely call 911 so fast. But you mean to tell me all you have to do is flip up your phone and press the record button? That's all you need to do. Press the record button. But if you need to call an emergency, yes, they have an emergency button. But normally people will have to open up the phone and press 911 and call. And it's like you're fumbling over it. But you can immediately open up your phone and have charge to the video. So the phone is the handler. Oh, it's the true handler. It's feeding data. It's extracting data as I'm dropping everything on this ground. Which is probably good because I don't need to eat any more sugar. So it's feeding us data and it's extracting data at the same time. It is like the true handler, you know, handling to the T, especially if you have crowds and group of people who naturally pick up their cell phones and things, and that goes back to the Where's Waldo. It goes back to the Where's Waldo theme. hmm So that's all I want to say, y'all. I'll stay on for a couple more minutes and see what other things that just kind of populate. And I'm really serious about the light frequencies emitting from these type of screens that they don't have enough data collection on, and they haven't experimented on basically enough, which is their data collection, because how else will they know these things unless they are collecting experimental data, or just, even just with observation is data as well. So it has to be 50, 100, 150, 200 years in order for them to understand the real true behavior of what these devices, how they correspond to our hormones, our aura, how they can define our behavior. Oh, they know, because they've been studying light frequencies. They've been, you know, the so-called scientists today, ultimately, they're very truly aware of that. Um, hmm So I guess the Wells Waldo is speaking to that frame also. Okay. Standing out is just being you. Okay. You don't need the spotlight or a camera. You don't need a spotlight or a camera. You don't need to be noticed about what it is to just be. Because when you're just being is when you can understand why you are here and what you should be working towards when you are just being. Because when we wake up in the morning and roll out of bed, and that's telling us what just being is, or when we roll out of the womb or however, and that's telling us what just being is, and is really taken away from our true imagination and our true uniqueness of ourselves. And even, with AI, Gemini, and all those other apps are very much helpful as far as organizing, right? But it takes away your creativity and your uniqueness, right? Because we can tell when it's all bland and when it's flat because it has no true experience, right, to relate to. All it has to relate to is data. And if data is all that we want to relate to, then it disconnects us from our true humanness, experiences, sharing stories, being unique, okay, having value, of overcoming and sharing, right? That's attached to our collective thread of who we are. Not just data, not just getting to the point, not just put it in the microwave and here it is. It's a lifespan of experiences that we all go through, okay, that allows us to be unique, that allows us to stand out. But getting right to the data is like, um, it gives no true source of enrichment of the data. It has no feeling. It has no heart to it, right? Hmm. So just being, just being will get you to your true uniqueness, your unique path. It's just being who you are ultimately. I think that's why this illustrator here, this guy, came up with this Wells Waddle. I be getting tongue twisted, y'all, because like I think that's why, because obviously that wasn't like one of his true paintings or drawings, but you get what I'm saying. He's probably was looking around in the world and was understanding that, how society was taking place, how we're not only cluttering it up with trash and non-recyclables and all. I don't know why they say non-recyclables, but we're not only cluttering up the land with trash, but it's the space of, I feel like it's the same consciousness of the same way on how to easily collect data. It's like the whole frequency waves are just one form and function. I hear that it's like that in other countries, as well, where definitely, I'm not going to say the countries out loud because I haven't really naturally visited there, but you can totally see that there is true conformity and uniformity. Everyone is uniform. Everyone does is super hella organized, right? Which we can learn a lot from. But there's like levels to these things, right? There's a form of organization. We're looking out for everyone. Okay. Everything is clean and nice, but there's a form of organization where it deals with control, right? Complete and ultimate control, where you're not allowed to stand out, where you have to look like the other person because we want everyone to stay on the same form of fashion, of organizing, of being very, 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 very organized. And then you have some areas around the world where places to live where it isn't organized so much at all, right? So there's very much levels, so many different levels of being. Okay, the extreme of being in a crowd where it's disorganization, or be in a crowd where it's harmony, like in Japan, somewhere like that. But like, you know what I mean. So standing out and being you, being your ultimate uniqueness is just being, y'all. Being without the handler as your creativity. Without your handler as your creativity. Without your handler, which is the new age cell phone, okay? Naturally, your creativity will just spill in, it will just pour in, whatever that can be. I can only like speak to uh, writing, illustrating, things like that, but even just there's so many ways to be creative. Oh my God, there's too many ways. There's so many ways to be creative. And we all each have some kind of form of creativity in us, no matter what state and level of being you are in your life. Okay? Because some people like to put restrictions and boundaries on their creativity. Well, I'm over here, so I can't really be creative. Or I'm doing this, and, you know, creation is going to lead you to your uniqueness. It's going to naturally allow you to stand out. Now, hey, if you can't, if you're afraid to stand out, then just stay where you are. That's fine. That's completely fine. And I'm not talking about the ego type of standing out. I'm talking about your true sense of being on your purpose, your sense of knowing where you are and on your purpose. Because that's going to stand you out naturally, because the spirits be coming around acting like they gangs. And it's like, ah, damn, you gotta go through this, little baby stuff, but you're already organizing your mind. So, anyway, that's what I want to say, y'all. I'm really trying to think of something else that they want to talk about outside of like these crowded, beautiful spaces, okay? Because we like people, okay? We need people, but we also are looking forward to those who stand out. That's, with music, that's why people who have like unordinary pitches or tones or sounding, they stand out the most. And everybody sound the motherfucking same. Everybody sound the same. That's because they are creative in their uniqueness, in their individuality, which comes through experience. We don't want to touch on hard work and discipline. Okay. That's why it's so easy to roll out of bed and grab our phones, and roll out of the womb and grab our phones. And that's our true creativity. Yes, indeed. So I got my energy back up slightly. hmm Where in the world is Carmen San Diego? That's a whole other different mission. Carmen San Diego, that's something completely different in comparison to Where's Waldo. I feel like Where's Waldo is more of like a patriarchal driven society. And Where in the World, I never did really watch Carmen San Diego. Those comparisons I'll have to do another time to kind of see how they're ideal alike and dislike. But as far as what I'm picking up from Where in the World is Carmen San Diego, is like she was on a travel and adventure looking for herself. But where's Waldo? He's found himself in a crowded space because he stands out in a crowded space and is giving like, I don't get into gender wars and all this, but when you look at this illustrator's portrait, it feels very, 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 very much masculine. It doesn't have any forms of femininity in it at all. Okay, it gives forms of masculinity. But Waldo was able to find his uniqueness, y'all, amongst all of that. I mean, that's like 1,000 pictures of Waldo, right? Because look, doesn't this all gives you masculinity? You get this slither piece of water, that slight piece of water, but the colors, the tones, the textures here gives power, force. It gives lots of static, obviously. So who's standing out in all of that, right? And like we were saying earlier, this says ha 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 ha, right? Because those are probably the powers that be in the middle of all this chaos laughing, collecting data. So when I look at Where's Waldo, I feel like this whole masculine environment. See, it's a lot going on here. The colors, even to me, the textures, although the flooring is white, which is interesting, it still gives a lot of masculinity. He can add yellow and white into it all together. It's still giving crowded, unorganized. It's a tad bit more organized than what it was before. Here, the same. And you can kind of just see where how he's illustrating that and where he's drawn to, because when you look at pictures you can tell if they're pulling from which side or which level, right, of their spirituality, because we're not going to say from their gender, but what form of their spirituality they're pulling from when you're looking at art designs. So you can't tell me that this isn't fully like a masculine art design. He is done purposely, as I was explaining. Now I'm practically like theorizing on something that's so simple and simplistic on something that can be much more larger, okay? Simple and simplistic, like Where's Waldo? Applying it to your life. But then also looking at the comparisons of Carmen Diego, her theme, in comparison to Where's Waldo, his theme. So I'm about to go in here right quick before I let y'all go, y'all. I'm gonna go in 5 minutes, y'all. I'm gonna go in 5 minutes. Let's look up Carmen Diego. Let's look at some images, just like we did with Where's Waldo. Where in Where's Waldo, Waldo has found himself in a crowded space. He's found his uniqueness in a patriarchal form of society. Now, Carmen Diego, right? No, she's not in quite a crowded spaces, but I see how they were playing with the um, the language and the themes of the two programs here. So for Carmen Diego, y'all, this is her, right? Mad and kind of hidden in mystique, right? Where she's going to now? She's going here. She's on the adventure, but the true theme was the adventure of finding herself. Was the true theme and adventure was finding herself on. Now, hey, quote me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but the true theme, because I didn't watch this show. I didn't watch it. I don't know. I didn't like it. But the true theme is Carmen Diego finding herself. But where's Waldo? Look, see how she's looking out. I've seen bits and look at that. They even someone drew this together. Where's Waldo and Carmen Diego? I'm not the only one who's doing like these comparisons, because what we look at when we read at as children, I don't think we don't look at these images critically, like I was just saying, like the textures of what we're looking at, the feeling of what we're looking at. These all play a part. And maybe the artist is aware of it, maybe the artist isn't. Some of them are aware of the so-called gender form that takes place when we are illustrating, because gender is in everything, okay? But I like to see gender in like as in spirituality as one and the same, which is a whole other different thing, right? So when they did Where's Waldo, I've already talked about that, right? And when they did Carmen Diego, that said something else, okay, for children who are looking at it, as if women at this point in time and girls to go out and find themselves in different areas in their life, okay? And then Waldo, right, no matter where he is in a crowded space, he will always find himself. He will always find himself, right? Carmen Diego is just going to be looking, is going to be searching for the many aspects of herself in her adventures, okay? Yeah, Waldo is like, shit, I'm at where I'm at. Look at this golden Saturn around his ass. Amongst all of these people, he's lit. He stands out amongst all of that, no matter where he is, no matter how chaotic, no matter how chaotic. Waldo gonna stand out. He can be in Egypt like Carmen Diego. He gonna stand out. Anyway, I hope that whoops. Hope that makes sense, y'all. So not only is standing out and purpose driven towards children in magazines and children's book by what they're seeing in imagery, if it's driven in imagery in books, just the definition, the defined elements of masculine and gender, right? Those very fine lines here, very rigid lines, right? It shows in illustrations as well. So, why the hell would they want to say that? Hmm. Why they want to say, oh, okay, I guess because that's just one form of how our unconscious as children, oh my God, they're about to close. I gotta go. How the unconscious is being unraveled and unwrapped through children, through illustrations, in that way, just by simply looking at photographs or by simply flipping through magazines, by looking at cartoons, okay? By the colors, the themes, and all that is showing you how to be this and how to be that. They don't even have to tell you, they can put it in through colors, textures, different forms on how bodies are standing close together. Textures that I'm talking about, are there straight lines, are there curves, are there triangles, or like what's the geometry? What are the textures in the photograph? Okay, are all speaking to your unconscious mind. Okay, so go back and rewatch the video and what I was talking about as far as that. So if they're doing it on the magazine, well, baby, you know they're doing it big time. They have been doing it through the data collection, okay? And I'm out, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out, y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out. Thank y'all for hanging out. I am still moving some boxes, y'all. Okay. So definitely almost almost done. And I haven't worked out in probably like 2 to 3 days. I'm still trying to figure out if I'm gonna work out today. But I'm gonna get up out of here because they're gonna close, and just recall what I was talking about earlier. Okay, being the Waldo as well, standing out, and being Carmen San Diego, no matter where you are, standing out. Because if you're still finding yourself, not to say that that's bad, but they're letting you know through that illustration, through Carmen San Diego, that you're gonna have to go look throughout so many different rooms to find yourself, and that's okay too. Or no matter where you are, you're going to stand out. That's okay as well. Just long as you have purpose, like Carmen San Diego, that's driven, and that you are consistent, like where's Waldo? Yo, I can't make this up. Gratitude, y'all. Thank y'all for coming back again and liking the stream and subbing to the channel. Check y'all out later.